Hello, welcome or welcome back to Terry-Ble TV. If you're checking out this video because you watched the last one when I built this Lego display in the form of the Death Star hallway, thank you so much for coming back. I'm glad you enjoyed that one enough to come back for this one. If not, I really recommend checking that other video out. That way you can see this as the progression and completion of the full display. If you did watch the last video, you may remember me saying that I initially had just thought I was going to do the Death Star, and that's it. That was the idea I had in my mind as a child, as a kid growing up. That's what I wanted in my bedroom. This was it, and I was happy with this. But somewhere around the 3/4 mark of being completed, I realized, you know what? I too am going to want something representing the good guys. And I decided I could do that by continuing the hallway theme, but instead of being more of the Death Star, to make it the good guys, I can make it the hallways to the Tantive IV.
So the Tantive IV is a blockade runner class ship with the model designation as a CR-90 Carillion corvette. This ship is the very first image introduced to us in the very first Star Wars movie in 1977. According to legends, the particular ship here, which served the House of Alderaan, went by the name Star of Alderaan, until renamed the Tantive IV in honor of diplomats visiting Alderaan from the fourth planet of the Tantive system, hence Tantive IV. One of the unique things about the look of the interior of this ship is that George Lucas had initially wanted everything to look like it was in a used universe. Everything had been around for a while, but the interior of the Tantive IV is unique in that it is always sleek and smooth and looks showroom fresh, until...
Gotcha, bitch!
The hallway location has been in multiple Star Wars stories, from Episode 4, then again on Rogue One, which set up the beginning of Episode 4, and then years earlier in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which we see Bail Organa and Yoda and Obi-Wan, and then subsequently handing C-3PO and R2-D2 to the care of Captain Antilles, and even shows up in the video games, such as, unironically, the Star Wars Lego game.
With that brief introduction of the Tantive IV out of the way, I'm ready to get started. So, I'm really excited to get going on this. I've got some ideas. I know that there's going to be a little bit more complicated geometry I'm going to have to do with this than I did with this. The hallways here are pretty flat, pretty sterile, just cool to look at. The Tantive IV has a lot more angles and rounded curves to it. I'm really looking forward to see if what I have in my head translates to a Lego display. So, if you're ready, I'm ready, and let's get building on the hallways of the Tantive IV. So my expectation is this isn't going to be too different from the Death Star build that we just completed. There will be some things that will be a little bit more complicated, but basically I'm going to start off. I want to have the shelves really match the main shelves that I have on the current Death Star shelf. Like the other one, I'm going to make it work and split apart, but I want it to be initially where all the shelves match across so that it looks like it was all built with the intent of being at the same time. So I will split them in the middle again so that I can have adjustment if I want to, or to add on anywhere in between if I so desire for that. The pylons are what's going to be the tougher part because they are at an angle. They're kind of basically like a crescent moon, and so I'm going to have it sloping up from the bottom and sloping down from the top with a very thick top and going down basically to nothing down on the bottom. So that's going to be a little bit, I have to figure out how I want to do that. And then the backdrop here, having the little stations, the little rectangle stations that they have on the Tantive IV. And again, having the shelving rails covered up so you don't see them when they're not being used, and covering up with Lego pieces so that I can take them off and put new ones back on wherever I need to, and thus I can exchange shelves, add shelves, take shelves away, but then when I'm done, the railing won't show. It'll all be able to be hidden again behind the Legos. So, I'm looking forward to get started. Let's get to it.
First thing I'm going to start on are the upright pylons, as they're going to be the most complex and the biggest standout feature of this display. And as typical, starting it by measuring it all out. Here I need to account for the back of the pylon at its thinnest part can only be as thick as the shelf rail, because any more or less, I won't be able to cover it quite right with the Lego tiles. Here I'm just freehanding the curvatures so that it could be about the size that I think I need it to be. None of it is exact and I'm really just guessing. And to account the angle for the vent piece that I have to build. Now to darken up the line so that I can actually cut it. Since there's no way I could duplicate both sides of the uprights, I'll stick them together to cut. That way they're exactly the same. With both sides cut, I'll put the cross members in and hopefully see that this is going to work. Time to prime and paint and see how it looks. Built the base already pretty much the exact same way as I did for the Death Star. And place the bottom shelf on it.
If necessity is the mother of invention, then so too must be that overconfidence is the stepchild of disappointment. This is not working out how I was hoping it would. I figured these columns would be fairly simple and straightforward. Couple side panels, couple cross members, a veneer front, a little bit of rounding of the corners, and boom, we're done. That's not the way it's working out. The veneer is not sticking quite right, and I realized as I was doing this, it would take a significant amount of work for me to be able to get this sanded down and painted and glossy enough to actually represent the very hallways I'm looking for these to do. But that's okay. Ultimately, this is a good thing. Why? Well, I'll tell you. Turns out that this particular shelving, unlike the Death Star, wasn't going to have a lot of Lego elements in it except for the top of the shelves. Now, the uprights will be as well. I'm going to take, and just like I do with the shelving, I'm going to coat the outside with a base plate, tile it up, and even though ultimately it will not be a nice smooth round in all the corners, I'm going to put 1x tiles across. What that's going to do is allow me to have the curves. Again, it's going to be a little step looking, but it'll actually look like a bigger Lego set. If you go out to a Lego store, you see the big displays they have of different characters, and they're not all smooth. They're kind of bumpy, kind of jaggedy, and has some edges to them. This will too. So even though it won't look like the set, it will certainly look like a Lego build of the set. So, time to go on lego.com and order a bunch of tiles.
While I wait for the tiles to come in, I'll go ahead and glue the base plates in place. To help adhere them, I'll also go ahead and staple them in. Now, luckily, if you staple in between the studs, the tiles fit on there and they don't bubble at all. Fits just right. But you gotta get the staples in between the studs. A week and a half later, the tiles have arrived. I found using a ceramic tile cutting bit, I can get these rounded off and get the shapes pretty much exactly how I need to along the edges, along with some low grit sanding. And quite the tedious task of filling up the base plates to see if I can attach them to the pylons. Again, making sure to staple in between the studs. Now a scary moment of truth to make sure they're going to attach into the curvature like I'm hoping they will. No joke, one thing I hate is working with caulk. Every crack I try to fill leads to way more cleanup than it should.
Crazy.
With the pylons up and secure, it's time to get the backing in place. That will give me my bottom and top curved deco. You can see a little bit of wave on the backing, but that's okay. Once I get the braces up and the decorations in the back, it's going to straighten it all right up. Using a laser level to make sure that I get the new brackets exactly like the other ones are so they match up perfectly. Now I'll build the vents for the pylons. Perfect accidental fit. Now it's time already to start tiling up all the top of the shells. Same as last time, with studs at the edge for minifigures. You see the white tiles, I'm using that to connect the base plate so when I glue them down, I know they're going to be exactly in line. Here I'll cut the back decoration pieces and then attach the fairing strips for the tiles to cover the rails. And to add some spots of greebling. Time to light it up with some rechargeable light fixtures so I don't have to worry about the wires. Now it's finally time to tile over the rails. Painting. The final piece to attach the shells to the brackets.
Well, all in all, I gotta say, this was all a really fun project. This one, I will tell you, unlike this one went so well, I was pretty much happy with it every step of the way. This one, not so much. This one did not fall in place to me until I got these back panels up and decorated. Up until that point, I was not sure this was gonna work to a point that I was gonna like it, but thankfully, it worked out. The fact that I had to change the pylons from a veneer front to these Legos was one of those happy accidents that you don't anticipate, but works out for the better. I'm really happy that I was able to get so many Lego elements in it this way, and that it actually worked, given that I was going to have to do not only the initial geometry of the rounds for the pylon itself, but I was able to get the Legos to do the same. So I'm really happy with this. It's hard to tell if I'm happier with this or that. I think I gotta lean this way. I think I'm happier with this, but they're both amazing for me. I'm so happy I was able to do this. Now, with that, I'm able to finally get back to my backlog of sets, and I can start building all of the vehicles that are going to populate this area. So, as I close out, I want to thank you for being here. I really hope you enjoyed this build. Again, if you have not seen the first one, I will link this build so you can see it. And I'm anticipating in a couple weeks maybe putting them together into one supersized video so that they can all be one. We'll see how that goes. But remember, you can figure out anything in life that you want to. All you got to do is stare at it for a little while. Till next time.